What exactly does auto insurance cover for drivers in Waycross, Georgia?
Just like the rest of the state, it's pretty much the same thing. There's not really anything that identifies specifically to Waycross, but like all auto policies, you've got to have your liability, property damage, and then it gets into, are you going to add uninsured motorist, underinsured motorist, comp, collision, medical pay,
Actually, you own two locations, right? You have one in Woodcross and one in Waycross.
yeah,
Or Woodcross. I say that all
Woodstock,
Woodstock and
Waycross.
Waycross.
Yeah.
What auto policies look? They look different for each one of those locations. Same.
No, same because it's state regulated.
Well, I mean, like as far as like some of the limits and stuff that people ask for, or
Maybe what they ask for, because it's a blue collar in south and it's a white collar in north.
is auto insurance required by law in Georgia, and what are the minimum requirements in your area?
Yes. So the answer to the first question is yes, it is required. And how it works is everybody insures everybody else. So once you own a vehicle, it's your responsibility to have at least liability on it, which covers the other party if you were to cause an accident. Minimum liability is $25.50. 25, so meaning 25,000 per person in an accident, up to 50,000 as a group, and then 25,000 property damage. So whatever you hit.
How do insurance companies determine what I pay for auto insurance in Waycross?
Yeah, great question. So many factors. It's kind of funny because back in the day, we could be out, having a meal, and you could ask me that same question, and I probably could get within 10% of what it would cost on a premium. Nowadays, the algorithm is crazy. So factors would include a credit score. It's a soft hit, doesn't read in credit, doesn't show up as a credit.
Why credit? Are they just trying to make sure you can pay for it, or
Financial responsibility. 2, accidents and tickets, right? So we're looking on, are you a good driver? You like to play bumper cars? What driver are we getting in the contract with? Type of vehicle, right? That's a huge factor.
it's real funny that you say contract with. I don't think that term gets used a lot because
Yeah.
everybody looks at insurance as like, just I got to go have it, but it's like
Yeah.
y'all have to y'all
It's
accepting
a
that
dual-
risk too.
Yeah, it's considered a dual contract between both parties, right? We make the offer that we're going to cover the vehicles and so forth laid out in the contract and policy, and you agree to pay the fee for that. So it's a two-way street. You also agree that the information provided is to the best of your knowledge, right? And there's nothing we don't know about that would cause maybe a different premium or a different risk.
Yeah, I don't think people really think about it like that most of the time. It's like hell, until you just said it, I didn't really think about it like it. Oh, actually, you know what? That brings the question: have you ever told somebody no, we can't insure you? What for?
Yeah, so usually it's accident or ticket related, and then we would forward them on to outlets that were connected in the area of brokers that they would be considered high risk at that point. And there are companies that gear their rates and their policies for high risk drivers. And then sometimes if it gets really nasty, there'll be state policies to help insure.
What does really nasty look like, or what does too many tickets look like? What does somebody who y'all wouldn't insure look
Yeah,
like?
we're a preferred company, and so our rates are based on that. So generally, 2 incidents or tickets combined is what we're looking for, or less. But outside
Per
of that,
year or per?
driver in a 3-year span.
Okay.
So if it starts getting out of hand, we may choose to non-renew the policy or, not take them on in the beginning, just depending on what's going on.
You ever had anybody like just get mad while they're in there?
No, because people know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you've caused multiple accidents and tickets, and it's not like, no, you're up a creek. Sorry, nobody's going to insure you. It's more of we're not the right fit, right? Here's the companies I can provide you that will take care of you. We know who they are, so we at least give direction and kind of help them make less calls than they would trying to find themselves.
So if you can't insure somebody on an auto policy, do you not insure them on any other policies either, or is it per policy difference, not per person?
Yeah, it's really policy related. There does get some factors in, like the insurance score, which is credit related, can bring down
Insurance score.
Yeah, so once we run the credit, it provides a score. I don't actually. The funny thing is when we run a credit for auto or home policy, I don't see the results. So all that happens is like I don't see if you've been late on your Visa payment or a car payment. Like I don't see any of that stuff. All it does is it generates an insurance score for me, and then that score determines the ranking of the premium, right? Again, I don't do it myself. It's all automated, and so it'll generate it or plug it into our quoting software and then generate a premium for for our client.
So when you're telling them you're running their credit score, you're not seeing their credit, you're just seeing an insurance score.
Correct.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It's also a soft hit, so it doesn't affect credit in the future. It's not like, they're going through maybe. I've had people be nervous about the process of insurance because they might be in the middle of a home loan, hasn't closed. They've called us for a quote. We want to run the credit to give them a more accurate quote. And they're like, well, my
Don't want to mess
my
up
loan
my rate.
officer says don't do any of that stuff. I'm like,
Right.
well, this doesn't apply. It's a soft hit, right? And so, and the loan companies expect that, right? They know you're out there shopping for home insurance as well. So there's no effect to you in a negative way there.
What is the difference between collision and comprehensive coverage?
Sure. So collision is just that. It's you collide with an object. So collision, collide. Comprehensive is everything else, right? Theft, vandalism, could be weather related. So a good one in our areas will get storm damage, right? So hail damage is real consistent in our area.
Are tornadoes consistent in that area too, or not really?
Sometimes it's not as prevalent, in other parts of the country. We're not like considered tornado alley or anything like that. But again, wind, hail, all that kind of stuff. If the car is not moving, that's what's going to cover it. Additionally, wildlife. So an interesting thing is that although a deer would collide with the vehicle per se, we can't go out there and get collision coverage from the deer.
Or something like a parked vehicle?
No, even if you're moving. So you're moving, it comes in and rams. I had a crazy one time. I had a client of mine that was coming to a slow stop at a four-way stop in a wooded area, and a deer come running down. She's in a Suburban, and a deer came running down. She happened to have her window down, and it dove into the window. Well, she freaked out, obviously, and somehow got the car in park on just reflexes maybe, and jumped out of the car. Well, this deer gets inside this Suburban, and now it can't get out. It can't figure out why, and it went ballistic. And if you know about deer, they're strong. Their legs are strong. It broke seats back. It broke the dash. It broke the steering wheel.
Seats are all tore up, probably.
It literally totaled the vehicle from the inside out. Even the officers on scene, they finally just, when they got there, they opened the door, and it was fine. It ran away, but you could tell it was tired and sore, because it had been fighting for its life, in its opinion, right? But that was comprehensive coverage. So she had, I think, $100 deductible, because typically your comprehensive also covers glass, and so people tend to have it as a lower deductible than your collision. And so she paid $100, and we replaced her vehicle for her. But
And what you ought to do is, I don't know if this is possible or like what kind of regulations there are for it, but like every crazy claim that you get like that, you should just like have a plaque somewhere with a picture and just write underneath it and just, we took care of that.
Yeah, this could happen to you.
That'd be really cool.
No, and I've often said that, or get with some other agents, because obviously agent friends of mine across the country have experienced some unique things, and I think it would be fun just to sit down and have those stories and just say, hey, I got one for you, and just kind of record that and look back. Back in the day, we used to get reports of claims that where people tried to take advantage of insurance companies, and it was meant to share the claim with us so we knew, but then also we would know if something like that is occurring again, what to look for in the signs. And some interesting stuff that people try to do. And again, you're like, wow, to sit there and think that deep into pulling off a scam with the insurance company, and sadly, that's what leads to rates too for all the rest of us, right? Is when people take advantage. So it all rolls into your premium. The good news is that's what I'm here for, right? I'm here. I represent a carrier, sure, but at the end of the day, I'm only in business because of my customers. And so for us, we really start at the top. And worst case scenario, let's say you caused that accident and it was terrible. Let's talk about your assets. What's at risk? Let's start there. We start building the coverage around and make sure that what you've worked your whole life for, is protected. And then once we've got that built out, now it's to look at, okay, what kind of discounts can I get you? What areas can I improve to help you manage that premium, and you're not paying out the nose, And so
I can say from experience, the carrier that you represent, I mean, when we were in California, my wife, like, they had this four-way stop, or it was a four-way stop with the light, but it was like a small delay between the light and then the side street. And my wife T-boned somebody because that guy had ran
Yeah.
and it was her go. And he actually tried to come after us for more, even though he had medical records showing he had already been in the hospital.
Yeah.
And carrier took care of it. I mean, hey, let you know this is what's going on in court. This is what they're doing. This like we didn't have to handle anything, but we got regular phone calls, emails, messages. Like I didn't even get nervous the whole time, but now that I'm thinking about it, that was all under like our limits, and like that was all being paid out of our limits. And
Yeah. That's why, I mean, number one, I have to sleep at night, right? Knowing that our clients are taken care of, that we've asked the right questions. But I want my clients to as well, knowing that they've got the right coverage. The worst thing that can happen for me or my customer is to find out they don't have the right coverage at the time of a claim. It's a terrible experience, right?
Yeah.
Not only from them feeling like they were jaded or, you know, they weren't taken care of, but what's the financial impact that they're left with? So there's two sides to that. And so we really try to do a good job about asking the right questions, building the right coverage, doing our best on the budget, you know, and there's a lot of things that you can do and still maintain the coverage that you need. You just need a true career-oriented professional agent doing it. The 800 numbers don't work. They're hiring younger folks that are putting themselves through school.
Or I mean, nowadays, like there's like some people who don't even have people. You can just use the app.
Yeah, it's really scary because you're not getting the right questions asked, right?
No.
And so now, you know, the carriers love it because you're taking a lot of the responsibility on you. And then again, you're signing that contract, right? And they're like, well, this is what you asked for. This is what you want. And it can be at a total disadvantage for you. So for me, it's just really focusing on an agent, whether it's our agency, you know, in Waycross or another agency. Do your homework. Get a company that's really going to look out for, or an agency that's really going to look out for your benefit first, and then work with you on pricing.
Smart. In Waycross, Georgia, how can I lower my auto insurance premiums without sacrificing coverage?
So we're actually, a thing that I pay for is a service that you can do, a safe driving course that gives you a discount. We provide all the information. You jump online, you pass the course, and it gives you a discount. We look at deductibles for you. You know, we can manage the coverages that make sense. Again, it's insurance in itself is the biggest gamble you're going to have, because can someone afford every scenario? Probably not. Even billionaires out there. Number one, you can't think of through every possible scenario because there's some freakish things like a deer diving in your car, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to come up with that? So the best thing that you can do is, you know, is figure out what coverage will cover your assets, right? Mainly your home is probably your biggest asset, right? Future earnings, things like that. And then what's your budget? And let's pull that off as close as we can get, right? Stay in budget, but at least get you as much coverage as we can that's going to take care of you. So whether you're in Waycross or my other location in Woodstock or any other place in Georgia, it really take the extra 30 minutes, and it doesn't take long. 30 minutes, 45 minutes conversation is a huge difference on making sure you have the right coverage.
In Waycross, Georgia, does my auto insurance cover me if I'm driving someone else's car?
It does. So
Really?
Secondary. So how it all works, as I said earlier, is insurance follows the vehicle first. So as someone that purchases a vehicle, it's my responsibility to insure anybody else that I might hit or injure. Once that's done, if that's not enough coverage, then the driver of the vehicle, their coverage comes in secondary. So if it's the same person that owns the vehicle, obviously they're not double dipping, right? So it's your policy. If you're the owner of the vehicle, insuring the vehicle, there's no secondary coverage. But if, for instance, you own the vehicle, you have it insured, when you let me drive your vehicle, you're also going to be permissive use, that's what it's called, to be covered under your policy. And so that's a big responsibility. People should think about that more on who you let drive your vehicle, you know.
How does that work if, like, say somebody else drives my vehicle and then they get in a wreck, like, and I tell my insurance company that, so is it my insurance first, then theirs? Or,
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so the person that insures the vehicle first, their insurance kicks in, and then if it's not adequate, then the driver.
Okay.
And in most cases, you know, if there's an attorney involved, they're gonna go after both policies right out of the gate.
Oh, okay. In Waycross, Georgia, what is gap insurance and when do I need it?
So gap insurance is just that, it's a gap, right? And so a lot of policies don't have full replacement or guaranteed replacement on the vehicle.
So this is on vehicle loans?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So On a vehicle loan, what happens is you go out and buy a vehicle, and let's say it's $40,000. That's probably low in today's world, but let's call it
It's a
40,000.
used vehicle.
Yeah. The minute you drive off the lot, it's not worth 40,000 anymore.
10 grand off top.
Right. At least, right? Call it 20%. 20% drop as soon as your tires leave the parking lot. But you've got a loan on it, right? So you go in, you spend 40,000, tax, licensing, fees. You're at 45,000 now. You put 5,000 down. You put a loan on it for the 40,000. You drive off the lot. It's now worth 30. You go down the street and you get in an accident. Well, insurance carriers are going to pay what the car is worth, which is now 30,000. It's not worth 40,000 anymore. It's been depreciated. What happens to the difference of 10,000 from your loan? That's 40,000, and the vehicle is 30,000. Well, typically, if you don't have gap insurance, you're on the hook for that. What gap insurance is guarantees that whatever the value of your vehicle is, we're still going to pay off the loan, and that's part of your policy. Or you can do it through the auto manufacturer. Typically, we're less expensive.
Yeah, or the person who issues the loan.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've had to do that before, and
Yep. So you basically have three parties that might add it on there, but honestly, in my experience, what we provide on our policy is typically about 20 to 30% cheaper.
oh, that's really good news to know. And a lot of people forget about that gap insurance. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll pay it all the way through the end of
Yeah.
their note, and they don't even realize that, like for me personally, once I realized what gap insurance was, I started paying attention. Once I got 10,000 below the car's worth, I call and have it removed.
Yeah.
So you gotta be the
And
model
that's
manufacturers.
a good point, because staying in touch with the insurance agent that knows what's going on, right? If you call an 800 number, you're going to get a different person every time. There's no history there. There's no, hey, let's have this conversation. I'm going to call you in a couple of years. My goal is to pay it down. Let's talk about it again, right? You're with my agency. We're going to have those notes. You call me. I'm like, hey, great talking to you. How's it going? Man, I can't believe it, but I paid half the vehicle off. It's not, I'm way under my loan now. Perfect, or the loan's way under what the vehicle's worth, I should say. So if you're having conversations with us, we want to help you. Like, we want you to manage your risk. We want to make you happy. I want you to be able to pay, what's comfortable for you. If I can save you money, I'm all for it, because I get to keep you as a customer.
I wonder, I'm going to put you on the spot here. With gap insurance, I mean, car rates and car values are a trackable number. I wonder if there's any way to track the value of that vehicle over a certain amount of time, and then maybe email the customer.
Sure. I mean, you'd have a payment schedule, right? The problem you'd have to match up the payment schedule with the
Value of the vehicle.
value, the appreciation.
Yeah,
of
but
the
you
vehicle.
could estimate it based on amount of time. Just
Typically, it's tough, because you got to remember it's depreciating every year, and you're still paying off the bill every year, right? And mortgages as well as loans it's heavy interest the first few years. So you're just paying all interest until about 2/3 through, and now you start getting traction on the principal. So it's still, unless you make some additional payments on it, it's probably not going to catch it. It'd be maybe the last couple of years. And again,
yeah, but a car loan's only five
well,
years.
now
7
they're
years.
doing 78. So you can come across a loan that's 78 months, which, I mean, now at that point, I don't know that you would ever catch it, because there's so much interest loaded on the other side.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to pay. Like, my truck was a little over 64. It's going to be $87,000 by the time I get through paying interest. And I've never had an interest rate, so I'm still annoyed about that.
Yeah.
Because what sucks is mine lost double the amount, because I bought mine 2022 late, like December 14th, 2022. So within a month, I've driven it off the lot, and it's technically a year older.
Yeah. And in Georgia, you pay property tax, right?
Yeah.
And so
We do in Texas too.
Yeah, and Missouri too, and different places. So typically people, they get rid of cars before the end of the year, and then start paying the property tax the following year. So you see a lot of cars being bought January.
Well, they had actually given me a really good deal on this one, but then I looked at it and I'm like, I kind of broke even, but then I added a bunch of stuff to it. And it just, yeah. In Waycross, Georgia, how does adding a teenage driver affect auto insurance for families?
Yeah, it's pricey. I mean, it's not just necessarily a teenager, it's less experience, right? And so my little joke, if you will, is when I have seniors that hit their 70s and 80s, they start seeing their premiums increase too. And I'm like, we look at you like a 16-year-old again, right? Because essentially that's what's happening, is just the experience, the no longer being comfortable in the vehicle, making some careless mistakes that they didn't before. But that's what you get with a new driver as well, right? Everything's uncomfortable. I'm trying to look at 3 mirrors. I'm trying to back up. I mean, we've all been there, right? You remember those days where it was awkward. You're trying to do a couple things.
We got to forget. I learned on a manual, so
Yeah, you have the manual
You
in
got
there.
3 pedals,
It's different. 3 on the tree, right? Those old days. The nice thing about today's world is most of the vehicles now have a center console with a backup camera that helps. A lot of the safety features on the vehicles, braking for you, all that kind of stuff. That's helping to drive auto rates down because there's less accidents. The more of that technology hits the streets in the newer cars, you're seeing less accidents, which is phenomenal when we're thinking about our kids in these vehicles. They're just safer, right? So that's the first thing I would say is that makes me happy because they're safer. But 2, it's nice to know that auto rates are going to continue coming down because if it's less accidents that insurance companies are paying out, they don't need to collect as much premium, right? But as far as a young driver, we just need that time with them. We don't have any history. When you come over to me as, having 10, 15 years driving experience, I can pull that record. I can see claims, I can see tickets, all that kind of stuff. So I can rate you appropriately. What we do with a brand new driver is we just have to take that sample set, what we know. And what we know about new drivers is they play bumper cars, right? They catch things here and there. They're lead foots. They're awkward. And, everything is fast. They move, everything's push button. So they're used to things happening fast. And unfortunately that can transfer over on how they speed. So, but it's not the end of the world. Look, your premium is going to go up, right? But there's ways to manage that. And if you call and talk to us beforehand, we can kind of give you some projections. This is what's going to happen with the current cars you have. But if you look at this kind of car, or do you have in your family that has an old beater, as you would say, there's things you can do to mitigate.
Well, that's because so like a newer vehicle. If you buy like a 16-year-old brand new vehicle, and you got to insure a brand new vehicle,
right?
And then you're on the hook for the liability because of their teen driver,
right? So in today's world, people with kids typically have at least an SUV in the household. What's SUVs costing these days? 80, 90, 100,000 brand new? Well, now you're asking an insurance carrier to say, I'm going to insure a 16-year-old on a $100,000 SUV. What do you think we got to catch? What's the premium look on that? Because it's not just what they hit, but the size of that vehicle is going to cause more damage than, say, a little sports car, right? So we know the damage is heavier. We know the cost of the vehicle is higher, right? And we know because it's a young driver, the probability of something happening is higher. So all of that would lead to a higher rate versus, we used to say jalopy, right? An old jalopy car, right? Some kind of old car that you just put liability on. If it gets in an accident, it's no big deal. Maybe
so I know earlier you mentioned something about helping the clients. Like, do you help the clients? Like, because what if somebody comes in and they're about to have a teen driver, they don't know what to purchase.
Yeah.
In Waycross, Georgia, what kind of vehicle should somebody be looking for a teen driver?
Sure, good question. So typically, stay away from 2-doors, right? They're considered sporty.
Even a Honda Civic, like a little Honda Civic 2-door.
Yeah, if it's sporty.
Really?
Yeah, just because kids tend to put, they change out the mufflers, they do things to them, little hot rods. Generally, if it's economical with gas, it's 4-door. It's not really what you consider the cool car or whatever. It tends to be good in insurance as well. But and I would say like a regular F-150 is not terrible. When you want to get into like the specialized vehicles or lifts and things like that on it, that can skyrocket you. But again, if you have 2 or 3 cars that you're looking at, call us and we can run some mock projections and give you an idea where it's headed.
I guess by now, though, you probably just look at it and be like, you're probably not going to look at that.
You're not going to like that one. Yeah.
If I live in and around the Waycross, Georgia area, how can I get an insurance quote from y'all, or where do I go to?
Yeah, we would love to have a conversation with you. We're in the downtown area off 11th Street. It's 505 11th Street, Waycross, Georgia. We just moved, and so I'm still learning the address a little bit, but we're right down there in the town center with a lot of the activities that happen in Waycross. We love being a part of that. But yeah, come out and see us.
Are there any special community activities that you enjoy in that area? Or
we just sponsored Swamp Fest. And
what's Swamp Fest?
It's a really cool, I think like 300,000 people come through over the weekend.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, single weekend?
Single weekend. It's probably the biggest one of the year.
Is it like an alligator fest? Is it a swamp fest? Like, what exactly is it? No idea?
No.
Just Swamp Fest?
Yeah. It's just a lot of vendors out there. There's things to do for the kid. There's music, live music, food, all that.
Well, it
kind
is
of stuff.
Georgia. I mean, y'all have like a lot of like the Spanish moss and like considered. I mean, it's still kind of swampy, you know.
Yeah.
Because we have a. Do we call it swamp? No, we have a Gator Fest is what we have, but it happens every year, and there's only like a little. There's not like a gator or anything except a little bit of food, but then
Yeah.
I don't even know why they call it a Gator Fest. Honestly,
We were a chair sponsor this year. We're excited to do that and be a big part of it. And we gave away a Yeti, really cool Yeti ice chest, and so we had some drawings for that, and that went really well. And it's been a great event. It tends to grow every year, and it's pretty exciting.
So I just enjoy being a part of the community.
The community loves it. We love to be a part of it.
Well, all right. Thank you for talking to me, John.
Yeah.